Hello, my name is Geoffrey Mattei. I'm a second-year MBA student and a fellow for the Center for Digital Strategies here at the Tuck School of Business. I'm joined today with Mac Dougherty, who's the CEO of Cognitive Electronics. For our viewers who may not be familiar with Cognitive Electronics, can you speak a little bit about your company, its focus, and kind of just give us a general idea of what you guys are doing there?
So what we're doing at Cognitive Electronics is we're building a next generation of cloud computing hardware. And really what we're focused on is the new emerging kinds of apps that are being deployed in the cloud, which are often called big data applications. Okay. And just to take a moment to talk about what big data applications are, as the name suggests, what big data applications are is they're applications that consume or analyze or in other ways use more data than can be handled by a traditional database style application. Okay. And the way in which they do that is they spread the work out in parallel across a number of different machines because the amount of data is more than any single machine can handle. Right. What we're doing is we're building hardware that will be hosted in the cloud that will run these kinds of big data applications much faster than they can be run today. We anticipate that they'll run approximately 100 times faster than they'll run today on commodity hardware. So that's what we're doing at Cognitive Electronics.
Cloud computing, a big topic today in IT. How do you guys see cloud as an area of opportunity for your company?
Sure. So I think, first of all, anytime there's a disruptive force in any industry, right, that creates opportunity for startups. And I think cloud is really reshaping the terrain of technology in general. So at a very sort of fundamental level, we see cloud as creating opportunities in that sense. The great thing about cloud infrastructure from the point of view of a user of computing resources is that you can scale the number of resources that you're using up and down to match the applications that you're running. So for example, in the past, if you had an application that needed to consume, let's say, 10 servers worth of computing power, you would need to buy and put in your data center 10 servers devoted to that application and have them at all times, even though you may only use them a few hours a day or perhaps even a few hours a month. Right. So the great thing about cloud, from the point of view of folks who are consuming compute services, is that you can get this this kind of infrastructure on demand.
Who would you, I guess, list as your company's main competitors right now?
Well, I think for any startup, you got to think about how are things done today? Right. Right. So today, there's a focus on running these kinds of applications on the lowest cost hardware that's out there, which makes sense because the demands for hardware are so high. We have to provide a compelling value proposition where you can take the applications you're running today and the applications that you'd like to run but don't have the capacity to run without our hardware. Right. Get them running with a minimum of fuss, which we can do, and also do that at a compelling performance per dollar value. And we think we can do that as well. Okay,
great. For our entrepreneurial-minded viewers out there, how does a company like yours break into the enterprise space as a startup when you have, entrenched players who have been there for a long time, have this reputation built up?
From a startup's point of view, I think you have to go in with a really compelling value. Right. And you have to go in and be very focused on exactly what it is that you do. So there are many very important things in an enterprise's IT environment, and indeed even in the context of cloud, that we are going to be basically irrelevant to the conversation regarding. But on the specific topic of big data applications and getting them to run as close to real time as possible and enabling the next generation of those things, we think that and I think it's true for any entrepreneurial venture, we think that our focus is going to differentiate us, and we think that our technology, which we regard as being pretty breakthrough, is going to give us some advantages in terms of the value proposition we can put forward.
Right, right. So Forrester Research released a study back in November that said only 6% of enterprises had really adopted a successful private cloud. What are kind of some of the barriers you see in terms of cloud adoption?
There's a certain amount of complexity in moving from a world where you have an application that runs on a particular server that's in a particular spot in your data center.
It's right here.
It's right here, and there's some real advantages to the simplicity of administering that kind of setup. Of course, what you lose is precisely the elasticity of being able to devote your compute resources to one application or another on demand. You know, I was having a conversation earlier where a person who's in a position to know, says that the average utilization rate for servers in a non-private cloud context is 11–12%.
Right.
So there's a lot of money being left on the table there if you're able to manage the transition from sort of the old paradigm to the new.
Right.
And having said that, there will certainly be applications that transition to a cloud context last.
On behalf of the Center for Digital Strategies at Tuck, thank you very much for spending some time with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Jeff.